Hello, and welcome to Living a Graceful Life. I'm your host, Denise Medved, and I'm also the creator and founder of the Ageless Grace Brain Health Program, which helps people of all ages in 50 states and 32 other countries keep their brains sharper and clearer and more focused than ever before, and in a fun and playful way. So that brings me right to our guest on this episode, Nancy Angus, who is from Age Big, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about that. And I know you think her hat is lovely, but it's not just any kind of hat. So, Nancy, I'd love for you to tell us just a little bit about Long Live Endorphins and Age Big and what you do.
Well, we're taping this on Halloween night. And so my husband is next door handing out the candies while I'm sitting here at 7 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time talking to you. Happy to do that, Denise. But I wanted you to know that I don't always wear a swim cap on my head. But one of the things that I did in my career with Age Big is that we do a lot of photo series with women. And we did one series called Long Live Endorphins, which was women over 55 and what sport they specialized in. So we had a variety of photographs of women. Some people were riding motorcycles, some people were specializing in Tai Chi, other people were walkers and fitness leaders. And I wore this because my sport, I was representing the sport of swimming, because when I turned 55, I learned to swim. And so I threw myself a party, wore this hat, swam a couple of lengths in my outdoor municipal pool, and invited all my friends. So that's my Halloween kind of costume, but it's my swim cap, and it's something that just keeps me inspired. It's so beautiful. I mean, keeps our hair dry when we go into the pool, but
That's great. I just love it. And I want to just comment here before I ask you to tell us more about Age Big and your history and background, that those of you who know about Ageless Grace Brain Health or know about cognitive function as it relates to living longer and living sharper and well, that learning something new as you live longer in your life, especially something that's physical, not just taking a written course or an audio course, but actually doing something that involves movement, is one of the best things you can do for your brain. So that's exactly what Nancy did when she learned to swim at the age of 55. Learning new things, learning new physical skills are highly important to continued brain health. We did it all the time when we were young, and then we got older and we thought we knew everything, I guess, because we stopped trying new things, right? But Nancy, tell us about Age Big and tell us a little more about your history.
sure. So my background, my I grew up I live in Thunder Bay in Canada, just north of Duluth. And I always loved, when I was growing up, my mentors were my grandmother and these older women that were just so cool. I just really loved them. And so when it came time to kind of start and build my career, I just kind of naturally gravitated into recreation, which is, helping people to play. So, I mean, how hard is that kind of job? But it is. There is a lot to know about recreation behind the scenes. So, over the course of my 35-year career, I worked for different municipalities and ended up finalizing my career, full-time career, with the city of Thunder Bay as an older adult specialist. And now I am an older adult. So now when I retired from work, I said, I wanted to be doing something that was meaningful. It was just what, Denise and I were talking a little bit earlier. We talked about that whole kind of thing that you think I'm too young to not be working full time. I've still got many things that I want to accomplish. And so Age Big for me was a way of creating a way for people to connect. So I feel that the connection aspect is so important. And so BIG stands for bold, inquisitive, and grateful aging. So I really think that you have to do something new that's that bold aspect. Like learn to swim when you're 55, because who cares? If you're not like a perfect swimmer, we're not going to the Olympics. I just want to enjoy the pool and the few months of outdoor summer weather that I have here in Thunder Bay. And the inquisitive aspect, that's something that we need to keep learning. And we know so much about the opportunity for wellness and for cognitive wellness as well as physical wellness, is that learning new things and trying new things and being inquisitive and open to growth, open to the things that might be available to us. And then the last part about the grateful is just I just feel that, again, we're in a community together, we're in this together, so it's just really wonderful and a good opportunity to have other people to share things with. So Age Big was my way of creating a little community, of giving people something to connect to and something to learn from. So it's been fun.
Well, kudos to you, because especially as we're out of lockdown from COVID, even though we're not out of the woods of the flu itself, that people are really searching for connection, interaction, social ways to connect. And I think that Age Big is a beautiful, beautiful program for them to be able to do that. It's a powerful idea and vision that you have. So I'd be curious to know what inspired you to create Age Big.
Well, I say that I was inspired by my grandmother Angus, but my true inspiration, the last few years when I was working, was my mother. My mom's name was Sis, short for sister, because she had lots of brothers, so she was their sister. So her nickname stuck, and she lived to be 100. She was in her 102nd year when she passed in 2020. She passed just before the pandemic.
Wow.
But she passed in February of 2020, but in January of 2020, she made a movie. I was like, oh my gosh. So she was in the regional hospital. She was moving in Canada, we have what we call long-term care. So she was moving, going into that kind of housing kind of situation. But I said, Mom, why don't we just write a little story? So she told me the story. I wrote it down. We recorded it with like just a little video recorder, stuck in a couple of pictures, and she made this movie. When she was 101 years old, and it was all about girlfriends and makeup and friendships. And there's true stories, like, because when she was in the hospital, it was a stormy day. I didn't get to the hospital that day, but her roommate that was in the hospital with her was much younger than her. She said, Sis, I can make you over. So she put some makeup on. So we were able to use this in this video, but it's just, and again, my mother, Sis, lived by a philosophy. It's 5 words: hug, smile, walk, talk, and help. And I would add a 6th one: dance, So it's really all those things that, and people said she passed just before the pandemic. Oh, she would have hated it because she wouldn't have been able to hug people. But she would have, I said, she'd be one of those people that would be helping in some way, but I don't know, doing Zoom or something like that, but she'd find a way that she could connect.
That is just beautiful. Would you reiterate those things she said again, those 5 things plus your 6th one?
Yeah, hug. So hug people, smile at strangers because that makes them feel good and it makes you feel good. Talk. So phone someone, like just talk to somebody that you see in the grocery store lineup, talk to someone at the drugstore, talk to someone, phone them if you have some names of people that you haven't phoned in a while. Talk to people. Hug, smile, walk. Walk. Okay, so that was the other one. Walk. She really believed in walking her neighborhood. And when she lived in an apartment building, she walked the halls of the apartment building. So then she said that was good exercise, and she would add 1 flight of stairs. Even when she was 100, she would always just do at least 1 flight of stairs.
What an inspiration. And the last one was help.
So volunteer in some way. Like if there's something you can do as a volunteer, with your church or your, community center, or, just do something for somebody else. So.
That is just terrific. And you said you added dance. Did she like to dance?
Well, no, she loved to dance. She loved dancing, and she taught my brother how to polka because she said, "You're not going to get out of the house without knowing how to polka." So they practice in the kitchen, and then every wedding that we went to, every family wedding that we went to, my brother always made sure that he got my mother to dance the polka. And in fact, when she turned 100. My husband plays in a retired guys rock band.
Oh, that's cool.
So we had my mother's 100th birthday party in one of the Legion halls in Thunder Bay, and my husband's band played, and my mother got to dance for her 100th birthday. So so it's pretty cool. And that's, when I do the Ageless Grace, when I teach my Ageless Grace sessions, the very first class that I taught a while ago, and one lady said to me, this is what that motto is: dance like nobody's watching. That's what it feels like. It just, who cares?
That's true. That's so true. And that is one of the things that Ageless Grace does allow people to do, is to sort of lose their inhibitions, to play, to have fun, to say, what the heck, who cares? I'm having a good time. I'm helping my body. I'm helping my brain, and I'm so thrilled that you incorporated it as part of your Age Big program. Another thing I'd like to ask you is because you've talked about connection, and you've talked about how important it is to do new things and connect with other people, and how important do you think it is for people to connect, or whether it's in person or on Zoom?
Well, one of the things that we've learned through the work that I've been doing, and I've been working with, and the lovely thing about kind of creating your own project like Age Big, is that I've had a lot of wonderful young people that have been working with me as well. They're working on their PhDs. So they're working on, health and rehab science, PhDs, and health promotion. And a lot of times what they are so excited about being part of this is that they realize that the social aspect, the good things that came out of the pandemic were kind of highlighting the fact that a lot of us, we take it for granted when we could see people. So this way of just, making sure that we can form little groups. Remember the one thing that was way back when, in the beginning of the pandemic, we all had to have our little social bubble, and all of a sudden people went, my bubble. It was that whole kind of realization that if you lived alone, you really did need to have a couple of people that you could connect with in some way. So we try to, through our programs that we do with Age Big, is try to get people together on maybe a Zoom group, so that at least they feel that they're still connecting in some way. And then we also try to encourage people to find ways that you can build your age in place team. And that's the big thing that is happening all over North America, and especially in many places. As we're getting older, we're really recognizing the fact that we need to age well, but we also want to age in our homes. And in order to do aging in our homes, we need to kind of adapt, like, how big is your home, like what do you really need if you move into an apartment, what are the things that can really be important to you and give you that kind of thing. And if you don't have room for your hobbies, where can you go to continue to work on your hobbies, or how can you mentor someone if you can't do that hobby anymore? So it's the big discussions, and I think the big realistic discussions that we have to have, because all of us, if we're lucky, will get older. And and some of us will have more challenge, but I really feel that if we start working on it together and younger, and try to encourage some of these young people to want to work to help us age well. And I think this is an exciting time for, I think, a lot of us right now.
I think you're right. I love your vision that it incorporates young people to help with this. Are they volunteers primarily?
Yeah, a lot of them are working on, yeah, and it's really fun in that way. Is that, when I'll go out and speak to a different class at a university or something, I'll a lot of times have people saying, "How can I get involved? What can I do?" And I think, my goodness, I never thought of myself as kind of a visionary, but people have mentored me over, my career, and now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, these young women, I'm learning from them, they're mentoring me, and young men too. But I just think it's really cool, like especially with the technology aspect. I don't The technology is not my forte, so I really do encourage and appreciate the fact when somebody can come and help me with some of that things that will help me age in my home.
Absolutely, absolutely. I feel like that's an important thing, to have multi-generational activities. And of course, what you're talking about does that, because it involves the younger people, it involves older people possibly who need the social interaction, and it can involve children. I know certainly children need all these same things that adults do, the social interaction. It's been a challenging, and we still don't know all the effects and the side effects that have happened from children who did not get to have, their senior prom and their dating experience and their interaction in kindergarten, and their, all these different things that happen to children of different ages for 2 years. It's like a big gap in their social development, and so I think we're going to be seeing after effects of that for a long time. And as you know, with Age Big and with Ageless Grace, to invite in children. I'm actually going to be going in November to do a special program where we're going to have older adults and children, and who are kindergartners, doing Ageless Grace together, and they're going to sit adult, child, adult, child, adult, child, and they're going to all interact together, and the kids are going to help the older people with ideas, and the older people are going to help the children with ideas. So it's an important thing to have that interaction, with very younger ones, as well as the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds also. What caused you to incorporate Ageless Grace into your Age Big program?
Very interesting, because a lot of the programs that we're doing were talking programs, and especially during the pandemic, we were getting together and we were talking and we were cooking. And I do a program called Cozy Couch Community, where people just kind of zoom in from their couch, and every week we'll maybe have a different speaker, we'll do storytelling, but it was kind of, and I work with kinesiologists, so they would come in and do little exercise things. But I thought, I want to find out more about Ageless Grace, because years ago I was a trainer in a Canadian Women in Sport program in Canada, and we got introduced to Ageless Grace, and with a little 4-hour kind of window, and this was years ago, and it always had stayed with me. And then a friend of mine in Hamilton, she had followed through and done her Ageless Grace facilitation training. And I thought, I want to add Ageless Grace to my repertoire, and bring it in to an offering that I can do for people on Zoom, but in person. And the really cool thing is that and I tried it out with a couple of Zoom groups, and they loved it. They just loved it. And I said, oh my gosh, this is what I need too. I need the motivation to exercise and to have fun and to dance and make my little Spotify playlists and kind of go cool like that. So it was absolutely wonderful to put this list together and to bring it to, and then I went across to the high school that I had gone to, and they've now renovated. The high school's closed, but the gymnasium is still operated as a gymnastics club. So I went over and I said, I'm a facilitator, and I'm a teacher in Ageless Grace, and do you think I could offer a class here? And they said, fantastic. We wanted to do something in the daytime because kids come after school for the gymnastics. So we started a program, and for me, it's really amazing, because I'm going back to my high school gymnasium where I remember, like, when you got marked for phys ed, I mean, can't imagine, getting marked for how, poorly I was playing volleyball or something, or my floor routines. So anyway, I'm back in my high school gymnasium teaching women. No, haven't got any guys yet, but women this ageless grace, and we've had so much fun. I said one of the shows, since the pandemic, and we're kind of getting back to being able to watch, go to programs like live performances again. And I went to see a performance by Alyssa Edwards. She's a drag queen on RuPaul's, and she has this fabulous little show on Netflix called Dancing Queen. But anyway, I was so inspired. I took my daughter-in-law, my two daughters, my husband gave me tickets for Alyssa Edwards for my 65th birthday, and we were practically in the front row. I was so inspired by this incredible woman who just danced and, performed and told stories. And I said, oh, that's how I feel when I do my Ageless Grace. People are following you, they're doing things, they're playing instruments. It's been just a gas. It's just been an absolute delight, Denise, to be able to do that. And yeah, I just feel that's my inspiration for doing it, is because it's selfish, because I need to work out myself, but it gives back, and it gives inspiration to my program for sure.
I appreciate what you said, because I always kid around with my students and say things like, you think I'm here for you, I'm here for me, and I'm so glad you came to join me, because I need to do this. It's important for all of us to keep our brains sharp and healthy. And would you just give a little definition of or description of Ageless Grace for anyone who might not know what it is?
Oh, it's an absolutely wonderful seated fitness program for your brain and your body. So, you think, oh, you sit in a chair because it's easy. No, it's actually a very good way of working your brain to do things that you just automatically jump up and do with your legs. But when you sit, you have an opportunity to kind of do a workout, but kind of keep your brain working in a different way. So I love it. Love it.
Glad to hear you say that. And we do have 21 different tools or exercises that we use in Ageless Grace. And so it not only do they work the 5 primary functions of your brain, every one of them, but they also focus your attention on some physical skill that we need to stay optimally functional for the rest of our lives, like flexibility or balance, or stimulating new neurons firing, or having upper body strength or muscle mass, all those kinds of things. Each one focuses on those types of things too. So not only are you thinking about what you're doing so that it's affecting your brain, but you're also thinking about what are you focused on. Oh, I'm really focused on upper body strength with this particular tool or exercise. And so I know that you've done so many things with Age Big. There was a list of things that you talked about, that you did some things that are verbal, some things that are conversational, some things that are socially interactive, like you mentioned cooking. Tell me some more things that your Age Big program has done, in the photos of the sports.
We've done digital storytelling, which is again the storytelling aspect, which really kind of helps people to kind of narrow things down and tell a little wee story, but kind of put it onto video. And that to me is really a wonderful way. One man said this is his way of giving his kids information in his own words. So it's not like, not sitting down for hours. It's just, and his kids have absolutely loved it. His kids are living in Europe, and he said they've asked him, can you just do a few more of those, Dad, so that we can give them to our kids? And so it's so we've done the storytelling. We've done some really fascinating things about kind of diving deep into some big topics to discuss. But we really focus on what you were saying, Denise, that kind of the social connection, and not the health promote, not the big heavy duty health lectures all the time, but the playfulness, like really trying to engage people in joy and playfulness, and reaching out to make at least a couple of new contacts in your life.
That's really important. We in our playbook for Ageless Grace, there's a page. It's just a small little thing, but it gives a little sort of like an anagram, I guess you might say, of play instead of living limited, which spells pill, P-I-L-L, because we always say Americans, especially both Canadian Americans, North America and South America, all over the world, people love to have a quick fix, right? They're like, oh yeah, there's a pill for that, and I'll lose weight. Oh yeah, there's a pill for that, and I'll sleep better, as opposed to doing the research to find out what might help them do that naturally, maybe. And so it's true. You're really onto something when you say that play is one of the most important things that people of all ages can do. I used to also make a joke and say, I checked in the rule book and nowhere does it say we're supposed to stop playing at a certain age. It doesn't say that anywhere in the rule book. We really can play at any age, and unfortunately we forget that. And we start to even think of it, I believe, as silly. Like, oh, that's silly. I don't want to do that because that's silly, or embarrassing, or it'll make me feel awkward, or it'll make me feel as if I'm I'm clumsy, those types of things. And of course, when we were children, we did those things all the time. Watch me hop on one foot. Whoops, I fell down. Ha ha ha. We didn't say like, gee, I don't know if I can do this or not. We said, let me see if I can do this. And I think that's a very important thing to remember. So I love that you are fostering play as well as social interaction among people who have lived longer. I hate to even use the word older, but people who've lived longer. And I love the stories. That it's a powerful thing for both the person telling the story to be able to pass it to someone, and certainly to whoever's listening, whether they be their adult children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, a friend. Those stories are very powerful. So pardon me?
How they start conversations. You just watch a little snippet of something, and then people just start the spin-offs just start happening. It's really lovely to see.
Yeah. And you're right. I think one story begets another story, so to speak. As soon as someone hears a story, they go, oh yeah, that reminds me of this story from my life, or that story. And storytelling is a powerful tool. I can't believe it, but we've spent almost 30 minutes chatting. I could just talk to you all evening about this. It's such a fun concept, Age Big. Would you tell people watching how to get in touch with you, whether there's a website or a Facebook page or an email address?
Our website is www.agebig.com. And we have a Facebook page and we have an Insta page. So Nancy at Age Big. So just look for me there and you'll find something that we try to post. And we're always doing new things. So, you can join in from wherever you are. And wherever I am, I can join in too. So
that's great. That's the beauty of Zoom. I said the pandemic had so many ugly, horrible things, but it also did some really good things. And I think that fact that so many people of all ages have learned to Zoom is a wonderful thing that's happened, because like you say, now you can not chat not just to the people in your neighborhood or your friends, but somebody who lives in a different country or in a different time zone or whatever. It's really a powerful thing. So is it Nancy at agebig.com?
yes.
Awesome. And that's Nancy spelled Nancy. And I mentioned that because I have a friend who's named Nancee. So just in case someone spells it a different way. And so we thank you so much for being here. And I would like to also mention to people, if they'd like to know more about Ageless Grace, you can go to agelessgrace.com. It's AGELESSGRACE.com. And there's all kinds of free videos and downloads, and there's a free class that you can download and take. And you can also find Nancy's email address on there, because we have a listing of all of our Ageless Grace educators. And if you are somewhere near her in the area, you might be able to actually join in live with some of her interactions, as well as on Zoom. So thank you again for being here. And I just want to remind everybody that the purpose of this show, Living a Graceful Life, is to remind you that it's never too late to begin making choices to create the life that you want to live. Thank you for watching.